Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. I hope you guys are doing amazing. As I enter into 2026, I wanted to share some thoughts with you guys. One majorly being that I feel like we are thinking about becoming the slave to the algorithm a bit too much. I mean, I get it that you put your work out there, right? And you have to understand how that platform works. For me, that is adaptability. But to define your craft and your work for that platform is where I feel like you lose the plot. And we see this a lot. I feel like when it comes to becoming an entrepreneur, you can be an entrepreneur by having a job. You do a job 9 to 5 and then you work on your stuff. But on the internet, you have to have your own hustle. You're not doing a 9 to 5 job and you are on your way to make $10,000 a month. And if you're not making $10,000 a month, are you even trying? Are you even doing your best? So when I talk about the algorithm, I feel like the main thing that I want to talk about is the fact that we are talking about consistency, but for the sake of algorithm. We're talking about creating or building in public for the sake of the algorithm. And once we're doing so much around the algorithm, we realize that that is not why we wanted to do things, why we wanted to create art or create videos or make content or educate people or all of that stuff, right? Because we kind of look at metrics and sometimes the metrics look good and you're like, okay, maybe I did good, but sometimes the metrics don't. But that does not mean that what you placed into the world is not as valuable, right? Because value comes from real connection and real change. And if you had 100 views on your reel but you changed one person's life, you gave them advice or you gave them 30 seconds of entertainment, and that entertainment, planted a seed in their head to be inspired or create art, you have done your job. But 100 views on a reel is kind of sad according to the algorithm, according to the internet. I think this is something that I've been trying to shape for myself for the past few years since I started putting my work out there, because you see great art when you open Instagram, when you open LinkedIn, you see everyone's achievements, which is good. And then once you are starting out in that field, you're like, okay, how do I compete with that? Because people who are like you, who are also putting things out there which are not the best, but they're trying and they're getting better every day, the algorithm won't show you that as much as the people who have achieved it all, or they are following the algorithm in such a good way even though their work is very bad, right? I focus on one thing, which is my craft something that I'm proud of if there is no internet tomorrow? Am I proud of the posters that I make, the brands that I create, the clothes that I make, the videos that I make on YouTube, right? Do I absolutely love them? If the answer is yes, then I think about the second part of how do I market it? How do I adapt for Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever that part is, Obviously, when I post consistently, I see, okay, there is a follower growth, there is, there are cool things happening, okay? But then when I don't, I have this guilt also. I'm like, wait a minute, I should be posting right now, not working on my craft, thinking about it. And even when I think about, okay, I have this long-term project, that means I can't do short-term things, which is post a reel every week or do a YouTube video just for the sake of uploading to follow a particular timeline. I mean, if YouTube was my only job or Instagram, it would be easier. I have something that I do full-time, which is I run a studio, I run a design fest, Ajib Design Fest, a design community, and I teach also, and as yearly we do these fashion collections. But the main idea is that we look at consistency through the lens of the internet, and that will never feel enough, because the consistency of the internet means that we have to show up every day on the internet, not in your real life. It doesn't matter if you didn't make a reel about it. Did you even show up at work? So I think we need to disassociate ourselves with the internet for a bit, take a step back, look at internet as this thing that, what if it didn't exist? What would we do around it? That's the question that I feel like when it comes to marketing for our brands, or the brands that we collaborate with, or even for ourselves, for Ajib, is that what if there is no internet tomorrow? What am I going to do? How am I going to create an impact, help the community, and do what I love to do? So that is the narrative that I'm kind of taking with me in 2026. And the reason I talk about it is because I feel like most of us are losing the plot. And then this whole transition of AI is coming in, which is AI can be more consistent and AI can create more art and it's so much better and all of that stuff, right? And then you're like, okay, I can do my best, and that means I can still post like once every 3 days, okay, which is amazing for you. That's like you doing the most that you can do. But when it comes to someone who is an AI wizard who would go to Hicksfield, create a bunch of videos, add some text, and boom. Hypothetically, let's say you are an athlete and you are great, but the problem is that the sport that you're into doesn't really have a big fan base. But that doesn't mean that you need to stop the sport that you love just because the algorithm doesn't really support it. Because if you look at, let's say, football, right? Football has more fans, but you enjoy table tennis. Table tennis is very cool right now because of the Marty Supreme movie, but let's say it's badminton, right? Would you really give up on your dream to play badminton and play football just because that pays more money or that will get you more fame, let's say, if that's what something you're into? To answer that question, you need to understand one very important thing, which is your privilege. What will your privilege allow you to do? If your privilege can allow you to sit at home and just paint for the sake of painting because you love painting, so paint. Enjoy the privilege that you have, but also understand that the greater the privilege, the greater the responsibility. That's what I believe, at least. I don't know what you guys think about it. Because if you don't have the privilege, you may need to paint, but also do a job on the side to, pay your bills, which is fine, right? But that would make you a very exceptional painter. Obviously, the more time you give to your craft is going to make it better. But is that really true? Yes, objectively. But to do other things in life and translate that into your craft is also something that people don't talk about. My experience of being away from home, not living in Pakistan for the first 19 years of my life, really shaped this love for Pakistan. And not be an artist for the first 17, 18 years of my life, right? I don't know how you define yourself to be an artist, but let's say at 17, I really got into it and I started creating, and I felt like that is how my artistic journey began. But now that I think about it, it began when I was young, because all of those thoughts and ideas and experiences still come into my work, right? So my point is that privilege is a blessing and a curse. It's the way you look at it, right? But to move in life, to understand your privilege and navigate through it is very important. And if you do that respectfully, that is beautiful. And then you kind of take a step back and understand that comparison is a thief of joy. And there is no joy that will come out if you look at other people and go like, they have achieved this much. But do you really know what privilege that they have? Or do you really know what the privilege that they didn't have? We're back again with a lot of new year resolutions, and honestly, I never make any, okay? Because everything that I want to do, I would love to do it now. I don't wait for the 1st of January. I try not to wait for the Monday. I try to do it on a Friday or a Thursday. I feel like those waiting periods really create this narrative in my head, at least, where I'm like, yes, I am capable of doing something amazing and I will do it on that day. And then when that day comes, I feel like I've built myself up so much in my head that when that day comes, the hype isn't the same, because I haven't done the work. I've just fantasized about doing the work. So I would just say, if you want to do something, just do it today. Don't wait for the next January, because if you waited for January 1st to do whatever you wanted to do, and if you didn't do it for any reason whatsoever, are you going to wait for the next January, or are you going to wait for the next 6 months? Like, what are these dates on a calendar? So if you want to do it, just get up and do it, and fail as much as you want. If you want to make a reel about it, do it, okay? Just because you enjoy it. And sometimes think about making great work and then making average content about it, because if your work is great, it will all work out in the long term, maybe not in the short term. So yeah guys, I'll see you soon. Thank you so much for watching.